Hallo, Ciao, and Kon'nichiwa, and welcome back to the Megane Plays Katawa Shoujo. In the last episode, I can't remember what happened. So, let's just get this show on the road. Yet again, I apologize for my guy voice. The classrooms closest to ours are designated to belong to classes 3-1 and 3-2 on the right side and 3-4 on the left side, each door looking exactly the same. Further down the corridor, still with identical doors, there are rooms that I didn't think were used for classes. Sorry, thought I had to sneeze. I guess the art room is not a classroom as such. I carefully push open the furthest door and peek in. It's a classroom, but it seems rather badly kept or not in use. Am I in the right place? Desks and chairs are all around the room. A thin layer of dust settled on them. There are some easels in the corner, so at least this looks like the right place. The room is flushed in sunlight from the big windows, shadows creeping all over the desks. Specks of dust are dancing in the stagnant air, making the beams of light almost visible. Jokingly, I call into the empty room. Anybody home? Something catches my eye, and I stop mid-sentence. Sorry, I'll keep going. Sitting on a desk is a short-haired girl, curiously wearing a boy's uniform, with a fork between her toes, a morsel of food stuck firmly on the end. That's an interesting way to eat. This odd way of dining seems to be caused by her apparent lack of hands, but her presence here is what takes me aback even more. How did I miss her before? She's sitting in a corner very still, but I still somehow took her as part of the furnishing or a statue at first glance. Think she's part Canadian or something? Sorry, Italian reference. I'm not being too observant today as a whole. The girl seems to be frozen in place, staring at me with her huge eyes like a rabbit in the headlights. She's staring at me, her mouth wide open, ready to accept the fork. I'm staring at her, my mouth wide open, suddenly remembering I didn't finish my sentence and trying to think if I should. This weird stalemate keeps us both stunned into silence, punctuated only by the wall clock ticking rhythmically. Hello. The girl stuffs the forkful in her mouth and is now staring at me expectantly while chewing. This is a bit awkward. Hello. I was told to pick up some supplies from here. For some festival stalls, I think. I didn't think there would be someone here. There isn't. That's why I came here too. She picks up another forkful. Doesn't that mean you're here then? She raises her eyebrows as if she was expecting my observation is false. You are pretty observant. I guess it does. But who are you? This girl is pretty straightforward, isn't she? I'm Nakai, Nissan Nakai. I just transferred in on Monday. I'm Rin. Tezuka Rin. Rin Tezuka. I won't shake hands with you, but at least we know who we are now. That's very nice. Her deadpan manner of talking makes it hard to determine whether she's joking about shaking hands or not. Sorry, felt like I was gonna sneeze again. Ugh. It kind of bothers me. Joking about these matters doesn't feel appropriate at all. Well, I'm trying to figure out what's appropriate and whether this girl is... Oh, well. While I'm trying to figure out what's appropriate and whether this girl is, she seems to have lost interest in me, now gazing yearningly back at her food. Can I continue my lunch? If you don't mind me, I won't mind you. If you need to get your stuff, the supplies are at the back. Go right ahead, but lunch? School's already over for today. What word would you use then? There's no word for a meal you eat after lunch, but before dinner, right? It bothers me very much too, but I don't really know what I should say. I don't think you're supposed to eat a meal between lunch and dinner to begin with. But I'm hungry now. My delicious box lunch would go to waste otherwise. I have curry. It's very delicious. With much decisiveness, Rinna once again picks up the fork between her toes, and with at least as much impoliteness, she points it straight at me. So, Nakai, what brings you to this place? Like I said, I was told to look for these things. No, the school. From outside, you look fine. Is your problem inside? I come to a full stop, opening my mouth, but not getting a word out. I can guess. I'm good at guessing. Better than most people. Rin cuts me off before I can answer her question, or skirt around it somehow. I don't know which I would have done. I froze in front of this issue again. I haven't even told anyone here about my condition, or maybe it's simply because it hasn't really come up. I do get the feeling that I'm not making issues of this as part of the social code here, as the teacher said. I wonder if the people here could relate. Probably not any better than any normal person could. Sorry. I can't relate to shoes in these circumstances, or lilies either. Naturally, while I go through this in my head, Rin keeps considering what my condition could be, with an overly contemplative look on her face. She puts her fork between her lips and leans back, looking at the ceiling as if the answer was written up there. A beam of light illuminates her face from the window side, creating a mask of dark shadow on the other side. I don't think it's anything in your head, and something in your guts would be boringly ordinary, like this lunch of mine, and less delicious. The problem must be in your pants. Wait, what? This messed up Sherlock Holmes kind of statement, and the sheer lack of tact it was delivered with catches me completely off guard. I think I might have reeled back even physically as Rin's eyes widened in revelation and astonishment. So I was right! There's something wrong with your tackle, isn't there? Well, she's rather blunt. Still partially in shock by recognizing the need to replace something, I spit out the first thing that I could think of. No, nothing like that. I have a heart problem. Arrhythmia. I said it. I really blurted it out, but I said it. The girl in front of me purses her lips together and glowers at me, looking very disappointed. How boring. Trouble in the pants would have been much more scandalous. I clicked outside of it. Oops. What's with this reaction? Sorry to let you down. I forgive you. Just, I collect people, and a person with, that kind of problem would have been really great. Collect people. People with different problems. Huh. So you just, go around asking people what's wrong with them? Pretty much. I see. With little left to say, Rin resumes in lunch and the conversation dies away, but I keep thinking about what was said. It's the first time I told anyone else about my condition. All the other people have either known about it already or heard about it from someone else. Or didn't need to know about it, like every other student here so far. Excuse me. Should I have told it it's a natural part of introductions? Is it expected of me? Hi, I'm Hisao. I have a very serious heart condition. Is that how I'm supposed to go around introducing myself from now on? As if our disabilities would define us. What a disgusting thought. Or maybe this Tezuka girl has just an unnatural interest in such things. As I walk to the back of the room to pick up the items on Misha's list, a chance opens to steady Rin from the corner of my eye. Her hair is burnt auburn, almost orange, and cropped short. Long hair would probably be impossible with no arms. The boy's uniform and the lack of arms makes her look very thin, almost scrawny. She's not particularly pretty, except for her murky green eyes, which flicker restlessly from below her short bangs, even when she eats. The distance and the shadows makes it seem like they don't reflect sunlight at all, but instead absorb all of it within them like deep wells. She moves her feet almost as deftly as a normal person would use their arms. However, I can see this sight could discomfort people, especially while eating. It makes them feel a bit uncomfortable, at least. I hesitate to think about the word unnatural, but it's too late now, isn't it? I keep searching the cabins and shelves for Misha's things, but after enough time passes, the silence grows too uncomfortable, so I try to force some conversation out of the strange girl. So, do you always eat alone and this late? Or do you get the occasional visitor? Visitors. Maybe you're my first occasional visitor, but I don't always eat alone either. Sometimes I eat with a certain person on the roof, if she's not horsing around. Horsing? She likes to do sports. Oh, and that's all I can think of to say. Both of us fall silent again as Rin forks the last bits of her meal into her mouth. I look down at my haul and double check it with Misha's list. Seems I have everything except plywood. So I think I have all the things now. That's very nice for you. Don't feel obligated to stay. I was about to take a nap anyway. You need to do whatever you're going to do with that stuff anyway, right? Or perhaps you like to watch girls sleeping? No. Audio bomb. You gotta stop doing that to me. People? Audio bomb from my sister yet again. I'm not sure what to make of this, but Ren looks serious. Even if I did, I think I have to be going. Wow. Shush, you don't even know the situation. No, I don't. I just make it. I'll catch you around, Tezuka. Tezuka. You can call me Rin. I feel that our relationship is at this point good enough to warrant as much. I was already turning to make my exit, but she draws me back in. Fine, then I'm Hisa. Then you are. Rin looks at me hard in the eyes, but that intimidating feeling you get when someone stares at you isn't there. It's like she's actually not looking at me at all. She blinks a couple of times, and I can't figure out why a pause like this just popped between us out of nowhere. See you later, Hiso. There's something like a tiny smile there in her face. Maybe. I quietly back out of the room. As I shut the door in front of my face, I whisper to myself, what an intriguing person. From inside, I hear a muffled sing-song voice. I heard that. What did you hear? I jump at the sudden appearance of Misha, who I had not heard approaching despite the completely empty hallway. Somehow she'd gotten to jumping distance of me without making a sound. Creepy. It briefly reminds me of Kenji's nutty theory about a global feminist conspiracy, but I push that thought aside. Shizune, standing slightly behind Misha, looks aloof as she couldn't have heard the remark that drew Misha's attention, but Misha is visibly excited. No, wait, more importantly, who is in there? There's no club meetings today. She tries to curiously peek past me, even though the door prevents her from seeing anyway. What are you doing here? You took so long that we had to come check what's wrong. That's no good, Hee-chan. She wags her finger at me scoldingly. I found plywood, but everything else is still missing because you're tardy. Oh, sorry. I got the things here. I was just going to bring them. I think you're up to some mischief, Hee-chan. Who was in there with you, I wonder? Misha signed something quickly to Shizune, pointing at her own ear a couple of times. Shizune immediately pushes her way past me and opens the door into the classroom I just left. I can only imagine the shock she is experiencing. With Shizune's diligence and attitude, the insolence of daring to deface school property by sleeping on top of it must be too much to bear. And indeed, she stares at Rin, frozen in place apart from the slight but noticeable trembling of her shoulders. From supposed rage, I'm sure. Suppressed rage. Wow. Even. Instead of blowing up, Shizune just takes a few deep breaths, adjusts her glasses, and slams the door shut, turning to sigh furiously at Misha. Somebody's mad. Maybe she did blow up, but I can't understand it. She shoots a very loaded stare at me, too, as if it was somehow my fault that Bryn is sleeping on one of the tables. I hope she's not getting any funny ideas about the reason of my tardiness. Hello. Bryn's voice comes from the other side of the door, and it takes a few eye blinks to realize she might have trouble opening it. Hello. That should have been what it sounded like. I opened the door to find Rin directly behind it, looking at us with a half-interested, half-sleepy face. Hello. Miss Suzuka, what do you think you're doing? You absolutely are not permitted to use school property for such disgraceful activity. It sure is suddenly very crowded in here. I didn't know it was this popular. It's hard to say whether she's happy or not happy about this turn of events. At any rate, she ignores Misha and Shizune Misha's scolding, as they have no choice but to drop the issue. Shizune taps Misha's shoulder and points at Rin and makes some quick signs. Popularity aside, please don't do that anymore. Anyway, how is your project going? Will it be done before the festival? Rin looks at them blankly, apparently at ease under the pressure of Shizune's cold stare is putting on her. I keep wondering about that myself too. And we'll think about it harder. As Misha signs a reply to Shizune, her face turns into an unsatisfied frown. Oh, it's so cute, Shizu. Miss Suzuka, please try to take this seriously. It'll be a disaster if the wall looks like something someone threw up their lunch onto it. Rin nods assertively. I'll think more seriously. Misha actually giggles at that, but Shizune doesn't, not even after translation. She just shakes her head, takes the materials from me, and takes off with Misha until... Rin frowns thoughtfully as she looks after the retreating student council duo. How rude. It's true, though. I must finish my project before the weekend. There will be dire consequences if I don't. The end of the world as we know it. Like weekdays usually are, but more dire. Much more dire. Maybe I'll postpone my nap to an unforeseen future. I'm about to ask what project she has and what are these apocalyptic consequences, but she walks back into the art classroom. Since you have nothing to do, would you give me a hand? This paint can doesn't fit into my bag, but I need it. She kicks lightly at a huge can of paint that's lying on the floor next to the table she was sitting and sleeping on. It lets out a dull clang. Being the gentleman I am, I naturally pick it up. Oh, gentlemanly are you, Hisao? Heavy. Yeah, sure. Where do you need to take it? Away. And with that, she takes off to the hallway, me and the paint can following, since there's little choice for either of us. The hallway is quiet and empty now, with Shizune and Misha gone too, so we too leave towards the stairwell at the other end. Every 10 or 15 or 20 steps, I have to change the can from one hand to another because the thin handle cuts into my palm. At least it keeps my arms from tiring too fast. Rin strolls on beside me like it's with an uneven pace that I have trouble matching. Or maybe I'm walking weird because of the extra weight. It seems one of us is constantly walking too slow or too fast, and I can't figure out which. 2 flights of stairs below, trouble appears in the form of the head nurse and his fox-like grin. Oh, hey, you. Ah, Mr. Nakai, what a happy coincidence. Tezuka too, of course. He nods courteously at Rin, who does not acknowledge him back, then turns to me because obviously it's me who he has some business with. There's something I forgot to mention on Monday. I nod and wait impassively because I can't even begin to guess what he forgot. The feeling of the handle delving deeper into my skin doesn't make me feel enthusiastic about this interruption either. It's about your medications. Since you haven't been that long on your current medications, there might be some unexpected side effects, which might require adjusting dosages or even changing to another kind of medication. So we will do a few tests regularly, but what I'd want is for you to keep an eye on everything in your condition that feels off, if you get what I mean. Nausea, headache, anything, and come see me if something happens. Alright. So how are you? Everything fine? Dude, are you blushing? Oh my god. I give up and drop the can to the floor before answering him. Apparently this takes longer than my biceps can handle. I'm about to say something generic as an answer, but then I realize how often I've done that lately. Other people have asked me that too. teachers and students here. My parents, visitors, nurses, doctors at the hospital. Everyone seems to be concerned about that. It's natural for a hospital, and not so much for a school. Except this school. Excuse me, people. This is a small school, and both the student base and the faculty seem to be very tightly knit. At least that's the feeling I'm getting. And this is not the kind of school that gets transfer students too often. The thought sends shivers up my spine, but I give a generic answer anyway. The fuck, dude? Why are you winking and blushing? Oh my god. That's great. Also, one other thing. My sources tell me that you've been at neither the school track nor even the pool, so I'd like to know if you've taken up exercising as I asked. Of course I have, but his way of inquiring gives me the feeling that I should have been running my ass off on the track since the first day. You have people spying on me? Not as much. Not as such. I just happen to know a few people, but that's not the issue here, so don't try to slip out of it. Well, I was actually just doing some improvised weightlifting as an exercise. I pick up and lift the can up and down a few times like some sad imitation of a bodybuilder, even though it's weighing down on my arms painfully. The stupid grin disappears from his face for a second, then comes back like it was never gone. Tezuka, would you give us a second? The nurse grabs me by the shoulder without waiting for Rin's permission, which she didn't need in the first place, and directs me aside. When I told you to exercise, I wasn't joking. I understand that you're still on your first week and all, but please don't ignore the importance of this. The reason I'm coming down this hard on you is that habits are not easy to form. The more you slip and postpone, the harder it'll be. It's the same with everything, like dieting. Can you promise me to be more serious about this from now on? Okay, choices. Well, if exercise is good for our health, even though I'm incredibly lazy, this, I guess, yes. Yeah, I promise, definitely. He studies me for a moment, then shrugs, smiling again. Okay, that's more like it. If you go to the school track tomorrow morning, you'll meet my spy, who probably has no qualms offering consultation to you if you want to get the jog of it. Consultation? See you around. Why the fuck are you blushing, dude? He leaves with a wave of his hand and no answer, and I walk to Rin, who has been waiting, idly leaning against the hallway wall and staring at the pale lighting fixtures in the ceiling. Even when I approach, she doesn't move her eyes off them. Are you getting medications for your heart thingy? Were you listening? It comes out more accusatory than I intended, accidentally lashing out on her. But even so, I don't really want to start talking about it. I just met her. I don't know her. It's not her business. The nurse seems to be happily ignoring our confidentiality too, talking about that kind of thing in public. But it's not Rin's fault, is it? I look up at her, suddenly feeling a bit guilty, but Rin is just staring past my shoulder quizzically, her head tilted like a bird's. I don't know why this is so hard for me. Feels like there's some inexplicable lock that prevents me from being more upfront about this. Yeah, they're from my heart. Will they make you better? No, not really. They just make me a little less worse. Rin keeps looking at me for a while longer, and she neither says anything further nor displays any kind of emotion I could discern. I'm thankful that she doesn't. I think I'm still not quite used to all this. At the hospital it was easy, but I still haven't sorted my feelings about having to live a normal life with this disability. So, we leave the main building, and Rin leads us onwards towards the dorm. We stop at the small patch of greenery in front of the dorm building. The dorm is built on a slightly elevated ground with a wall and a few trees that everyone has to circle around every time they come or go. It's probably the only inconvenient design in the school. The entire wall, made of the same kind of bricks as the building itself, has been covered with some sort of painting. Most of it is still mere sketches, quick lines drawn with black and white against the gray plastering that covers almost the entire length of the wall, but some places look a bit more finished. It takes a lot of breathing, that. There are human faces and legs and hands. You can't quite say what the painting as a whole might portray. Sacks of what seemed to be paint cans are arranged in piles on the ground, besides the wall. See, the left side is hardly off the ground yet. It's because I couldn't get in the mood yesterday, so I gave up and went to meditate instead. Then it was suddenly morning. I have to work on it, but the guys from art class are helping with the negative spaces and base surfaces, whatever, which is a problem. It's easier to paint big areas if there are a lot of people with hands. The reach is better, and it's faster too. She goes on a tangent of a tangent, waving a little with her arm, whatever of it there actually is, to demonstrate even though I got the point already. The white cotton of her sleeve flaps around, and it makes me think it could look sadder than it does. But it makes me feel out of place, like almost every tangible reminder of the student base's special properties has in the past few days. Yeah, sorry. The girl doesn't notice my jury feelings, of course, or the fact that she lost me a while ago already. It just keeps on blabbering. So that's why I'm trying to figure out if there's something I need to figure out, and then figure that out before it's too late and all hope is lost. Why would the hope be lost? Because paint has to be painted, and then it has to dry, and then it has to be painted over with another kind of paint. It takes time. She finally stops, apparently thinking she made some kind of statement that makes sense. I think it's best to start from the top. So this is your project? You did this? Yes. Yes. All of it? Yes. Nice. But I stumble with my words, suddenly feeling like I've walked straight into the minefield of potential incorrectness. It's okay, you can say it. I probably won't get mad. I blush really hard. I don't really know what would be the right thing to say, if any. It feels that I'm way more sensitive than Bryn is, though. This is really awkward. Don't you want to ask? How do you paint without hands? See, I'm an easy person to talk to, right? With my feet. Are you blushing? I can't tell. I almost guessed that already, but isn't that hard to do? You're good at guessing. Anyway, I don't think it is, but maybe I'm used to it by now. I can't get my mind around the fact that she could be an artist. But seeing how adept she was using her feet to eat, I figure painting might not be a problem either. Time is it? Okay. Neither of us has anything more to add to the subject. The afternoon light works pretty well. I was afraid it would look flat, but it's not like that after all. I think that's actually pretty interesting. I wanted to see what it looks like in dim light. Do you think it's flat? Well, paintings tend to be flat. Not like that flat. You know, flat, like some people are. No substance, no me, where there should be some. I know a few girls. Okay, I get it. But I couldn't really tell. I'm not that good with art. I can't name any artists or artistic terms, so I don't really have anything to say. Rin shrugged her shoulders at that, saying, "Suit yourself," without saying it, and looks up at the sky as if trying to look for something up there. I didn't think I'd get any actual work done, but if you give me a hand with the paints, I could do a little before it's too dark. I wanted to get a halogen lamp with like the ones they have at the sports track, but there aren't any. Rin sure is quick to recruit my help, as was she to me. It really makes me feel that the festival is such a big project that every pair of hands is needed. Why not? I'm not really sure if I can be of any help, though. I'm just mixing some paints. It's just mixing some paints. You can do that. Probably. Do you have motor control problems? Like, you know, those people who have some? So, cerebral palsy, maybe? Not that I know of. I get it. Our thingy has nothing to do with that. She gives me a sly look for no reason. No, it doesn't. Well, let's do it then. She sits on an empty wooden box and very naturally picks up a wide brush between the toes of her bare right foot. I open a few of the cans and pour some of the contents into shallow bowls for mixing. The thick paints flow lazily from the can to the bowl, like syrup. I mix them, creating funny, hypnotic-looking swirl patterns that melt quickly into each other to form a new monotone hue. Rin sets to work, every now and then asking me for a hand with something or the other. Finding different brushes is easy enough, but mixing the paints to be the exact tone this girl is apparently seeing in her head is a frustrating ordeal. She wants precision down to the last millimeter before she's satisfied. Her instructions are obscure at the best. Add half a splash of green. I crouched down to pick up the can of bright green. The other green. This green. I carefully pour some of the other green paint into the mixing bowl. No, that's almost a whole splash. More white. Is green a good color to add? No idea. You're the artist here. A hint of a smile appears in the corners of her mouth. I pronounced it like a Japanese. Sorry, any Japanese people watching. Do you lack an opinion? No, it's just that I have no idea. It's okay, because I got an idea. Add more white. With this exclamation, I pour a minuscule amount of white into the bowl and mix it. It looks slightly whiter. That's not good. It has to be like the color when you wake up and you know that you saw the meaning of life in your dream, but you can't remember it. Maybe it's yellow. Despite the impossibility of mixing a color like the change of seasons or any other nonsense that's been being imposed on me, I found myself enjoying it more than I thought it would. Scene change. Seeing a painting being born on the plastered wall feels like magic. I spend the moments I've been between mixing paints crouching down on the paving and just looking at her work. It looks slightly intrusive at first. It feels slightly intrusive even. Like breaking some imaginary intimacy. But Rin doesn't seem to mind the least bit. Maybe it's just in my head. Her entire presence emits a completely different air as she patiently works the details, adding layers of paint on top of other layers of paint, steadily moving her foot across the wall to add new shapes. Okay, I got like 10 minutes. When I manage to produce a passable mixture of paint, the rare smile on her face is oddly rewarding. Apart from the rare few words when discussing paint mixes, neither of us says a word for the longest times. And even those short discussions soon evolve into a shorthand, both of us developing and using weird impromptu codes for various paints and hues. As if there was some need to conserve words and breath and sound. We stay there late into the evening, until it becomes too dark to paint it properly. Chapter. The sound of an alarm pulls me out of a fitful slumber and into the unpleasant state of wakefulness. I linger under the blanket for a few minutes, gathering energy to rise up while making excuses as for why I already haven't. Honestly, I wouldn't mind staying here for all day. School is surprisingly exhausting after a long pause, and the culture shock still has not faded, I think. Ugh. Sorry, people. Still, despite getting an impression that skipping class is easy here, I don't think they're going to let me get away with that easily. Especially if you're new. And the nurse is bound to keep breathing down my neck with the talk of exercising as well. So eventually I do rise up, swallowing the morning medications and put on my old soccer clothing. Thanks to my condition, I was exempted from taking part in gym classes at Yamaku, so I didn't get issued with the gym outfit. I'd ordered some to cover such a contingency, but wearing my old soccer clothes is kind of nostalgic. I can't use them for that anymore, so maybe they can get a new life this way. A bit like me. After all, if I'm going to start taking care of myself, I can't afford to slack around. I'll start from the basics. Basics which include keeping the rest of my body in shape along with what little I can do to strengthen my heart. Maybe then I could go back to something approaching normal life. At least something where I'm less likely to fall over dead at any minute. I'm surprised to discover that I'm not the only one present at the track. Not just that, but it's a face I've seen before. The prosthetic-legged girl who bowed me over in the hallway yesterday is running on the track lively, like a half-mechanical gazelle. Cool! That's awesome. What was her name again? It was a short one, but I can't remember. She seems to be running laps at a somewhat easy lope, her prosthetic legs clacking rhythmically on the hard track surface. I wonder what reason she has for running this early in the morning. Maybe it's something akin to mine, and the nurse is oppressing the poor girl to jog just like he is oppressing me. Certainly wouldn't be here if it weren't for my health, and it's prompting me to do so. And even with things being like they are, it's only because I wanted to get it out of the way early. The fact that I would be less likely to encounter someone who would witness my pitiful attempts to get in shape was merely a happy accident. I'd leave, but it seems that my former assailant noticed me on her last lap. She waves at me cheerfully and jogs over. Twin tails girl. Anyone else think she kind of looks like Femme England with the green eyes and the twin tails and the... Yeah. Good morning. Your name's Ciao, right? She grins, seemingly pleased that she'd remembered my name. You may not remember me. Emmy, I knocked you over in the hall yesterday. How could I forget such a blunt introduction? Emmy has the decency to look vaguely apologetic for a moment before giggling. Yeah, sorry about that. Again. Well, so long as you don't make a habit out of it, I suppose it'll be fine. Great! I'm not sure she realized I was joking. So the spy consultant the nurse was talking about, is that actually you? That's right. Oh. I was expecting someone from the nursing staff, to be honest. What, are you saying I don't look like I could be a spy? No, this is more like a relief. I was afraid he would have someone to watch my every move. Unless you are here to do exactly that. No, I'm here for my own reasons. The nurse just asked me if I had seen a messy-haired transfer student who looks like he's kind of lost around the track. So why are you down here? Emmy strikes a dramatic pose. Training! For what? Track! Ah, I see. You're on the track team then? I think I like this girl. Emmy nods enthusiastically. Yep, I'm one of the better runners, too. I'm modest about it, too. Hey, you should join up. It's good exercise, you know. I think that much activity is probably out of the question for me. Nah, I'm not even sure that I really like running all that much. Plus, I'm just not into organized sports, you know? It's true, I never even really got that much into soccer. I mean, I'd run around with my friends and all, but that was really the only reason I ever played. It wasn't for the glory to be found on the field, that's for sure. Emmy seems to understand my meaning. Yeah. I see. Not that into the whole organization thing. I'm sorry, people. I'm kinda gassy today. But now that you're here, I guess we're going to run together, huh? What? Sure, I guess. Emmy seems pleased. Are you going to warm up? Real men don't warm up. Epic line. Oh no, you always should warm up. Bad he's out. She scolds me enthusiastically, but then smiles and leans closer. I hate warming up too. She laughs suddenly. Heck, and I don't even have to stretch my legs. As if to confirm her statement, she bounces up and down a couple of times, giving a passing impression of standing on a pair of springs. Her leg blades seem to be quite elastic. Let's go! So we both take off around the track, and I can immediately see that she wasn't lying about being good at running. Emmy moves fluidly, throwing herself into the run with a sort of wild abandon. I find myself concentrating more on running properly. Hands spread, right? And something about hitting on the balls of your feet rather than the heels. I try to match my stride to Emmy's, but it's pretty difficult. Apparently I'm not very good at it. Maybe Emmy could help me with that sometime. I'm really not filling up to more than a couple of laps a day, and slow to a walk pretty quickly. Emmy keeps running, and doesn't seem to notice I've stopped until she passes me a second time. She quickly skids to a halt, breathing steadily in contrast to my own somewhat gasping demeanor. Finished already? I hang my head ruefully. Yeah. I'm not in very good shape right now. Emmy nods and then grins at me again. She seems to do a lot of smiling. Well, the important thing is you started, right? Next time you just have to try to hold out longer, and then longer, and longer, and eventually you'll be great. I'll keep that in mind. But I think right now I'm going to get ready for class. Shouldn't you? Emmy shrugs unconcernedly. Nah, I've got plenty of time. I noticed that she's not wearing a watch. Are you sure? Another careless shrug. Not really, but I've got to finish my routine. See you later, Hisao. Yeah, see ya. I'm not sure whether this morning's experiment was a success or a failure, but I'll admit that I do feel slightly good about getting out there this morning. And like Emmy said, I just need to keep it in order to get ready to get better, right? Practice makes perfect, or something like that. It's nice at least to feel like I've taken some semblance of control over my own health. I'll have to try to keep this up. Ooh, the painting looks nice. I head back to the dorms to wash and change into my uniform, trying to resist the urge to take a really long, hot shower. Sorry. I'm tired from all the running, so I just want to unwind. But I don't want to break my slowly building routine of getting to school before the morning rush. Okay, people. Sorry, guys. But it's got up to around 40 minutes, and I am afraid that I'm going to have to stop for now. If you like this video, feel free to talk about it in the comments. If you want to subscribe, and if you subscribe, you can become my hipster! Woo! Okay, it's not that great, but you may or may not get a digital pair of glasses, you never know. So, this is the Megane, this has been a Let's Play, and I will see you next time. Bye!